Welcome folks back to another edition of Earl's Classic Cars, where we have one question for you. Do you have inner fenderitis? That's right, that's what I said, inner fenderitis. You've never heard of it before? Well, let me show you what it is. Inner fenderitis is a condition where your inner fender will not stay tucked inside the bumper of your truck or your car or whatever, and it likes to flap in the wind. And you know what happens when it flaps in the wind? It blows back against your tire, and then it starts getting torn up. And then what do? Well, you can let it stay that way and it'll eventually fall apart, but what happens then is you don't have any protection from the rain and snow and other things getting up in here, and it can cause problems with your performance of your vehicle. So, what are we going to do about it? We're going to replace it. Again, it's one of those things you could take to the dealership or an auto repair shop down the road, but you're going to pay those kind of repair prices. How much does that cost you? Well, check this out. I'm sure you've seen this over the years. For some reason, these lovely plastic inner fender liners like to kind of come out of their hole, so to speak, at least on the front. It's been rubbing against the tire and looking at trying to get that left front inner fender liner replaced. Well, he's got to get into the computer just to figure out what he needs to charge me to do these things. Just like you got to get in the computer to even replace the parts on newer vehicles these days. All right, so now we're going to the local repair shop and see if they can give us an estimate. Yes, who am I speaking with? And this Earl, how are you doing today? Have you got time to give me a few estimates?
Not at the moment, man, I don't. What do you need an estimate on?
Can I maybe tell you what I need and have you call me back when you have a moment?
Yeah, that'd be fine, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sure you've seen this over the years. The front left inner fender liner, that plastic liner.
You say it was a 5.7 as well?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Okay. No, I didn't say, but you're right. That's important.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yep.
Make sure, and it is make sure I put it down here, 4-wheel drive.
It is.
Yeah, so I got the Ram 1500 with the fender. That left inner fender on it, is it still somewhat there, or is it completely gone?
No, it's one of those things where, it's supposed to tuck in behind the fender flare, and at one point I had a wheel speed sensor. It's a weird thing. The fender flare actually started to detach from the fender and hanging down a little bit, and it caused the inner fender to pull on the wheel speed sensor, which then caused an ABS error. So I replaced... I replaced all that, but then once you pull those inner fenders out, they tend to not want to stay in the fender flare, and so it started dragging on the wheel or the tire, and so it's a little shredded on the front edge, and I just wanted to replace it. So,
gotcha. Okay. All right, cool.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
I'll give you a call back. Like I said, it might be an hour and a half or so, but I'll give you a shout back and let you know.
No problem. Thank you. Bye. Well, a couple of guys have got to call me back. We'll see, but as you can tell already, it sounds expensive. A couple of things on the Ram. That was the left front inner fender liner.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I did not check on that. I had to call. Usually on those, man, I had to call the dealer, but what I was going to recommend on that, man, is if you feel comfortable doing it, man, on those things, I would recommend trying to find a place online, even if it's Amazon, and getting it. We can put it in for you. It's no big deal, but, man, you can save a ton of money, doing it that way.
Okay.
Because you'd be shocked at how expensive some of that plastic is for these vehicles, man.
Right.
I can't personally, for the shop, buy it for you online like that, but as long as it's not a safety part or a part that fails, I'll put it in for you, but as far as like radiators and brakes and stuff, I can't do those, but any kind of little trim or mirror I can do for you, if you get it, because like I said, it would save you a ton of money, I'm sure, just to try to find one.
What would you charge me to put it in if I found it?
You're probably looking at and I'm guessing here, probably $60, $75. I mean, it wouldn't be terrible, man.
Okay, so 60 or 70.
Yeah,
okay.
It wouldn't be bad, man. But that's what I would recommend on that, man, because, like I said, if I order it through the shop here, it's going to upcharge you, and, it's like, man, that stuff's already expensive because I can't get you a part. I guess I could, but I'm not really allowed to get parts from Amazon for customers, because I just can't warranty them or anything.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. He gave me some estimates for the inner liner, even though he said it would be too expensive to get an inner liner part himself, but he would put one in for me. So that didn't sound too bad. So there you go. That's the update from the local repair shop. Now we'll see what the dealership has to say.
Your 1500 wheel liner job, around 540 parts and labor.
Okay. Alrighty. I will call you back and figure out which ones we're going to do.
That'll work, sir. I'll be here.
All right. Thank you. This is how much we paid for the inner fender that we plan on putting on ours by ourselves. You know, another DIY. Fix your daily driver, classic truck in this case, and help keep it on the road. The last time we were working on this truck, we were replacing this console when the buttons on our truck stopped working after spilling a soda on it. So check that video out if you missed it. In this video, what we're concerned about again is this inner fender liner that came out and started flapping against our wheel and is now torn up. As you can tell, we've tried to put some double-sided tape on here to keep it in place until we could get to it, but even that wouldn't hold. Why did this happen? Well, when we were doing this wheel speed sensor, we had to pull this out and take the inner fender out of the way so that we could get to all the connections. And sometimes when you do that, these little tabs that hold it in place will break off, and then it won't stay behind the bumper or your fender guard here and things like that, so then it starts flapping. Well, that's why we got to replace this thing. But how difficult is it? It's really not hard at all. You've got it, again, it's already out of here. You've got these bolts and everything here on the fender guard, and behind there is the inner fender. And then of course there's a bolt up here that you got to work on to get out, and a bolt up here, and then undo these wires on the other side that are plugged into the inner fender, and then you'll be able to take that out and put the other one in. All right, so we've got all the screws out here on the fender guard, and there's also one of those plastic tabs up here that holds it in place, so we've got to get that as well. But all the other screws are out, and it's just about ready to come out on this side. But of course we've still got to get these two screws off of here and get those things on the inside in the engine bay area. Got to get those things unhooked as well, or pulled out of there, those plastic trees, so that we can keep those wires in there and not have them yanked on when we're taking out this inner fender. All right, folks, we have the inner fender out, and as you can tell right here, there is the wire with its three tabs, the two right here, and then the one right here that we're poked through and holding on to the inner fender, so that keeps that wire out of the way on the engine compartment side. But what we did in that case is we just got on the back side of the inner fender here, pulled each one of those trees through, just going through on the back side, and then it simply came out. That was a good way to protect that wire and be able to get the inner fender out. Now that we have the inner fender out, we can inspect in here and see if there's any issues going on. So it's a good time to look and see what's going on. One thing I've been having trouble with, I think, still is my exhaust. So I'm going to check the tightness on those bolts while I've got the inner fender off. And if you got that same problem, it's a good chance to take a look at your exhaust manifolds, make sure you don't have any broken bolts, which may be causing you that Hemi tick, but that's something different. And looking around here a little bit more, let's see what's going on there. Well, that's a little bit of a concern. Didn't know we maybe have a radiator leak going on. So now we need to check that. Great. Just great. I tell you, never get a break. All right. We're also having issues with our front sensors that we're going to have to work on and check those, but you don't need the inner fender off to do that. Good time to get the leaves that are somehow getting behind my inner fender well and tucked in here. Oh, they're probably coming down. Yep, that's what it is. They're coming down from above when they get in my upper area along the cowl and everything, and they're coming down here and getting down in here, and that's not a good thing because that could eventually rust out stuff. Of course, this part's plastic, but could get to the door area here in the frame and rust that out. Plus, this piece of tape has come off too that came from the factory, so it's a good time to put another piece there. Another way you can use duct tape, folks. All right, guys, so when we last left off with our inner fender repair, we discovered a leaking radiator. Well, we stopped everything since there was no sense putting the inner fender back on in case we needed to get to it with this radiator. In the end, we didn't, but we stopped what we were doing with the inner fender repair and went ahead and replaced this radiator on this 2014 Ram. So click on the link in the video up above to check that out, to see how we did that ourselves for only $500 and saved a bunch of money versus doing it in a shop or with the dealer. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start putting this new inner fender liner on. Going to get it positioned. Then we're going to start getting it tightened down. So we're going to work this up in there. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This thing is designed, again, this is an aftermarket part. If you want to know what it is we bought one from TRQ, better known as the Totally Right Part, or something. I can't remember what it was. I'll tell you later, but there's the part number. Here's what we purchased. And the thing about this one versus the original that we just took off is this actually has some bolt holes here to help hold this on. And I'll tell you, if the original was bolted on, it wouldn't have eventually come out of this bracket back here and started rubbing against our tire, but it doesn't work that way. And in fact, these aren't bolt holes. These are for putting those plastic push pins in and keeping it in place, but there's no holes in here for the plastic push pins to go in. So I don't know, we may drill some holes here, make that happen, but I'm thinking about putting some double-sided tape in here to help keep it in place too. But we'll see. Let's get this in place. So again, when you're putting it in here, you got to line it up with these holes up above where it's going to screw in and hold in up there. And so we just need to try to get that positioned in there the best that we can. Get it up over the control arms and everything. Do a little bit of bending and tweaking right now. Is getting the screw holes lined up. They're pretty well in place. And before, in the video up here above, where this plastic plug is, I said you would have to take that out, but you really didn't. It's help holding the fender well in place. So we're happy about that. Get everything behind the fender flare, and the fender flare has, or the inner fender has the retainer clips for the screw to screw into. So you want to just try to get those worked into place and everything. Again, it'll all start to work its way into place as soon as you get it behind the fender flare, and not before then. So you just have to work back and forth with it. I don't know why this old stool will not roll on my driveway. Driveway's not the smoothest, but it's not the roughest either. Alright, so we're going to do some tweaking and everything here. And we'll let you know when we're ready to start bolting it down. It helps if you have these little plastic wedge tools and everything too, with your plastic plug set. That's where I've got mine from. And these will help you kind of work that inner fender back in there. Alright, well, Saturday morning we're back on it. We had to make some adjustments yesterday. I was trying to get this back in here, and I was having some alignment problems with the holes in the fender flare versus these retaining screws or tabs in the brand new inner liner here. And took a closer look and realized that when I had put this back on in that other video that we did when we fixed the wheel speed sensor, and then had to replace, put this back on, because this had fallen down, causing the wheel speed sensor, causing the actual inner liner that we're replacing now to pull down on that wheel speed sensor and cause that anti-lock braking error in that video. I checked this out yesterday and went to look at this for part of the alignment issues, and I don't know if I didn't put this on right the first time or it had slid down again, but these holes were not lining up with the screws, so I had to take this back off again and take all the double-sided tape off, which that is not fun. This took less than probably 3 minutes to put on once I had it cleaned up and new double-sided tape on, but not a lot of fun to take that old goo off. Had to use some Goo Gone automotive adhesive remover, ones that are good for automotive. You don't want to put just any Goo Gone on there because it could ruin your paint or other things, but it worked for getting this stuff off. But you have to take that old double-sided tape off in layers. Anyway, let's get back on trying to get this inner liner in here, getting this thing back down on the ground. Guys, well, as you can see, we've anchored it in all the key places. In here, we also make sure you re-anchor. See those push pin trees right there, or studs? Make sure you re-anchor your wheel speed sensor and this other wire that comes off of there right there. You don't want those things hanging down. or this starting to flex around like it shouldn't, so you don't have another ABS sensor error code come on your dash like mine did. Got it anchored up in here, got it anchored up in here, and now we have this flap properly put behind this bracket right in here. So yeah, we'll have some flexibility when it's driving down the road, but it shouldn't be pulling itself out anymore, and we shouldn't have any more problems. So it's in there. I will say this much about the TRQ part. It's good, but it's not as good as the factory one, and honestly I don't know how much it costs to get from Mopar, but you might want to get the factory one just because it fits better with all this under here and the alignment of the screw holes and everything. But overall, I'd say this is a better, thicker quality part than the original. The original was a lot more paper thin. This feels a lot, I wouldn't say a lot, but somewhat thicker, a little more supple and flexible, so that maybe it'll give a little more and last a little longer, not come out and hit our wheels tires as we're going down the road and shred and do all those things. And now we can put this back on. Oh, how it all started and how it all got sidetracked with that radiator leak. But I'm glad we took this off, found that radiator leak before it became a problem and left us stranded on the side of the road. All right, guys, so there you go. We've got the inner fender back on our 2014 Ram and got the fender flare back on there for the second time as well. Did it ourselves. So as you can tell, if you're willing to put in a little time and effort, in our case, it was more effort than I thought it was going to be since I had to reinstall the fender flare. But either way, for us, it was time and effort. But the only cost to us in terms of dollars was the amount it cost to purchase the inner fender, which I'll post up here at the top of the screen, since I can't remember right off the top of my head how much it was without looking it up. But that's much cheaper than going to the dealer or to the local repair shop and having them do it. In the end, just say no to new cars and do a little DIY auto repair in your daily driver classic truck and help keep it on the road. Have a good one. And stay tuned to see more from me, Earl with an E.